throughout this conversation, I realized you say purpose. What is your purpose, and also how did you find your purpose?
Well, first and foremost, my purpose found me, and how I identified that was simply this. See, when you go back to move forward, a lot of things are uncovered. See, when you learn who you are from the very beginning, a lot of things are uncovered. And what I uncovered is this: not only my purpose, but our purpose is the exact same. Me, you, whoever exists, our purpose is the exact same thing. And that purpose is to become the best version of yourself, to assist somebody else in becoming the best version of themselves. Now, that's not a destination, it's a journey. I have to become the best version of myself every day and continue to become the best version of myself. Everything that lives is supposed to evolve. And if we're not evolving, if we're not growing, that means that we're dying or already dead. So, my purpose is simple and it's clear. To become the best version of myself, to assist somebody else to become the best version of themselves is not just my purpose, but it's our purpose. Now, how we do that is different. We all have gifts and we have talents, right? So we have a gift specifically that we were given, and we have talents that surround those gifts. And once we focus on that, then we can have a clear identity on how we move forward with our lives, and we do it in a real way.
How you talked about earlier how you had a problem with stuttering.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about how you overcame that.
Right.
You talked about how you found your purpose.
Right.
My question to you is, did you ever have fear to get on stage? Because it seemed like you're a fearless brother.
Yeah, oh yeah, man. I had all of the feelings, man. Insecurities, inadequacies. Yeah, y'all get what I'm talking about. So I felt inadequate. So that leads you to being insecure. Like, it leads you into a space to where, you're just like, man, if I can only do this. And I stopped saying if only, and I'm like, shit, I'm gonna try. What I had to lose, right? So I see people that's living in their truth. Why not live in mine?
Most definitely.
Right? So I did it one time and I sucked. I said, okay.
Well, before you go forward, break down the first time you got on stage and break down the feeling. Make us feel like we're on stage with you.
Terrible. Hey man, see, now you're picking on me. Man. You want me to go back and relive some stuff, man. But anyway, man, my first piece, man. Now the piece itself, it wasn't bad, but it's what happened to me when I got in front of other people that I felt could judge my expression. So I got up in front of the mic. I'm like, shit, people are looking at me. So I got my pad down here. So I put my pad up here.
Right.
And I'm starting to read, but the insecurities are just eating me alive. Right? So it didn't come across well. I sucked to myself. The crowd, I mean, there's a few marginal claps. It's like, okay, I didn't know whether the claps was because I was done or something I said in the poem.
Right.
But the way I felt was, okay, they're glad I left. So I said, you know what? That's not my personality, man. I'm a by the book, Aries, fire sign, analytical, not quit, alpha type. So I said, you know what?
Like you said earlier, I'm not gonna let it bully me.
Nah, man. I look the bully in the face, man. We gonna fight, or shit, man, they gonna get tired of fighting me. So you gotta beat me every day.
Right.
I'm one of them kind of cats. So my thing was this, man. I said, okay, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do it again because I didn't do my poem the justice that I needed to do it. So that was my first experience with responsibility. So now it was less about me and the crowd, and it was more about me and the responsibility for what I created. So it's I have this thing where I speak about value, right? So if I add value to somebody's life, then they'll connect with me in a real way, right? So I said, okay, if the value of this poem is what I feel it to be and what I know it to be when I created it, and I don't do that justice, not only am I failing the people, but I'm failing the creative process as a poet. And I didn't even know I was a poet at the point, but I wrote a poem. So I'm like, this poem has some meaning. So if I don't bring that across, then I fail at that, and I just wasn't willing to do that.
What about your first feature? How was your first feature?
My first feature was great, because at that point.
And do you remember the name of the spot?
Yeah, man, I do. Shoot, man, my first feature, man, and this is a person, man, that I always big up, man, whether she knows it or not. There was a sister named YeahThisMilk down in the Macon, Warner Robins area. She's from there. She's been on the scene. She's done some great things with poetry, but she influenced me greatly with just how she moves, man. Just being a strong black woman and handling business in a certain way, being sure of herself as an artist, that type of thing. And like the sister put me on, and she she was the reason that I had my own spot. Her and should I want to give love also to a sister named Ty Lee. God rest her soul, man. I hope she rests in love. But both of those sisters, man, they gave me fire, right? So that passion started to blaze over, and they had platforms, right? And they were welcoming. And the sister YeahThisMilk, man, like she had a number of spots going. And so I would come out to her open mic in Macon, and I would get on the mic and do my thing, and she had me featured, and I'll be eternally grateful to that sister, man, and just that's her spirit and how she is and how she's benefited me as a poet. Not just with the confidence to get up and do my thing, but to do more, right? Not just be a performer, but to do more. See it different from a business aspect. See it different as an artist. All right, put other people on. Like it's not just about you. Like this is a culture, right? So from that, like we had a movement called a culture shock. And, the sister had. She had multiple imprints, man. That sister's just a hustler. So she had multiple shows, man, and I performed at all of her shows, man, out there in Macon. So shout out to YeahThisMilk.
That's what's up.
It's a real one.
What influences your writing? Let me say it a different day. What influences your writing back in the day compared to now? Or is it all the same?
Yeah, man, it's just life. This life, man. What influenced me earlier was simply just the things that I was feeling. You know what I mean? It was just me expressing my thoughts and ideas and being free to do so. And then the next thing that influenced me was like, okay, I feel confident in my pen enough to take this and have more impact with it. I don't care if it's through features or, going to different spots around the country to perform and having other people, hear the art and influencing other people to write. And then it grew into being a thing to where what's influencing me is just life in general. Taking a look and broadening my pen, so to speak, and writing about different things, different subject matter. And then it turned into, okay, let me focus on the things that really matter. Let me influence people in that way. Like, let me highlight the things that really matter to us. And I know we can feel like that everything matters, and it does to a degree. But we should always have a priority listing. And the truth is that some things matter more than others, right? So So it went from that to now being inspired by responsibility. In one of my poems, I say that, my ancestors sent me here to have this conversation with you, right? So it's things like that, to where it's grown from being all about me and my expression and my thoughts and ideas to, okay, I've honed my pen, so let me, let me show the skill set a little bit, to well, this life thing is great and dynamic and all of that stuff. It's good, it's bad, it's ugly, it's all of this stuff. And then it's morphed into responsibility. So my thing is to continue to do that, continue to have a platform, put people on, to influence people to write, to express themselves, and that's one of the things that's allowed me to become a greater communicator and get a point across. So that's what leads me to that speaking space and other things that I do with poetry.
What's the quickest poem you wrote and remembered?
Oh man, there's a few of them. I actually have a short poem series now, man, that I'm working on. Like what I'm known for is ending my poems in questions, right? And that's one of the things that's unique about what I do, because I want to leave people with something. Whether they take that question and it's rhetorical in nature, once a question is asked, it goes into the mind space. So with consciousness, like I just want people to challenge themselves, to challenge me, and I want to inspire people to do their thing in their own way. But like man, there's a bunch of different short poems. Like I have one that goes, "My queen is a celestial being, just being herself. A true knowledge of her wealth takes us to brand new depths. So why try saving him or her when salvation is saving yourself?" So there again, the question is at the end, like, do we know these things, or are we examining these things? And it points to the connection and how I value that connection between myself and my wife.
Was that the quickest poem you ever wrote? Because something like, the thing is, sometimes we get poems, it might take a year to write. Right. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. What's the quickest poem you ever wrote?
Yeah, actually, man, that's it.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's it. Like it used to be more of a thinking process, right? And now it's just more of a flow, right? So I get ideas that hit me, and it's like, oh man, I got to get this out. I don't need to lose this.
Right. What's the biggest tour you've been on, as far as poetry?
Oh man, there's
Well, name some of the tours you've been on.
Let's see, I've done like myself, or just some of the things that I've been involved in.
Some of the things you've been involved with in yourself.
Yeah, let's see, man. Well, when Chico DeBarge came to Macon, I hosted that show and performed in that show. So with that, that was one, and that was a great show. That was a great time, man. And doing for Sisters Only. That happened in Atlanta, and man, I don't have any bad experiences or anything like that. And every tour or every stop that I did was great, man. I've been to places like Alabama, and Michigan, and shoot, man, I've even done performances overseas. Like one of the first times, man, that I was that I performed was actually in Europe. Yeah. So that was man, that was a vibe, man. That spot was actually like it was in a basement. It was like a beatnik vibe, but you know what I mean. It was like an underground type vibe. Spot wasn't very big at all.
I love those spots.
Oh man, I love them, man. Spots. And it was just raw, organic poetry, and that's where I started to see it as something different. And I'm like, wow, this is something different. That's where I first experienced spoken word. Like it's where I first experienced, somebody taking control of the art and pointing it in the direction that they wanted to go, and they executed it. So I got my chance to go up on that mic, and I did my thing, man. And shoot, man, all of the different places or things that I've done or platforms, man, that I've been on, man, they've all been great. I've done so many that there's a lot that I can't remember, but the ones that I do, they stick out for certain reasons, like places like Flint, Michigan sticks out, man, and that's recently because of how the youth perceive that art form and the things that they ask about later and stuff like that, man. And the Chico DeBarge show was a great one because of what I saw in the moment, how people respond, and just by the amount of stage time that I was able to have to connect with the people as the host and performing. And of course, For Sisters Only was a great. That was great.
Who was on
experience?
Who was the bill on For Sisters Only?
Oh man, on that joint is where LL Cool J actually hosted the joint, and then there was sisters on there like Keisha Cole, Jasmine Sullivan. Also, there was a joint that I did. I was on the platform. My man Raheem Devon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He dope.
He did his thing too, man. But it's environments like that, man, that I just learned a lot from as an artist. I learned about the business. I learned how things look, and also how things are not always what they seem.
Most definitely.
But all of that stuff helps you find your footing as an artist.
Right.
So who's on the platform for me? And I want to say this because it's not important. It is important, but whoever is on that platform is not as important to me as the connection that I have with the audience as a poet, right? So I'm not as much impressed by people as I am how they are as a person.
Most definitely.
If that makes sense.
It makes sense to me.
So that's what it's all about, man, for me. Like I remember, there's somebody from every place that I've been that I remember. Not so much the places themselves or who was on the stage with me or whatever the platform created. I remember the people that connected themselves to what I was giving them and to the experience. So I remember somebody from every crowd.
Okay. What's your favorite spot that you performed at? It doesn't have to be none of the places we talk about. It could be just a local spot or a spot in Mississippi. What's the spot like when you go there, like every time I go and perform, I'm always happy here because they give me the energy that I need to do what need to be done in a way at the highest level? Yeah,
I can't really say that I have a favorite spot, man, because okay. I love doing this to a degree that I find something to like about it whenever I'm performing. That's why I've been consistent for 20 years. Wherever I go is a new opportunity to reach somebody else, to touch somebody else, to connect with somebody else. So every time I perform, it's my favorite place.
Have you ever been heckled?
Oh yeah, man, I had some keys shaking on me. I've had, just like I told you, I haven't always been as confident.
Right.
And people can see it or they can feel it.
Most definitely.
Right. If they can't connect with you and they can connect with your insecurity more so, it's like,
yeah, it's not smell blood.
He's out there in front of me and he's just like me. Let me shake these keys on it. Let me drive that even further.
Right.
But yeah, man, it like for anybody that's performing in front of a crowd and they say that they nailed it every time, they lying.
Most definitely.
They're straight up like even if it's you felt like that you could have done something to make it better, or if it's somebody in the crowd that's just not connecting to it. Like we can't reach everybody, but what we can do is we can execute our potential every time.
Well, what's the worst performance you think you had? Your own, not what the crowd think, what you think. Because sometimes you can do, the crowd will come up to you like, man, you did a good job, and in your mind you're like, I ain't doing no damn good job. I thought it'd been an A, that was a C. So what was the last time? What was the last time you felt like? What was your worst performance from because you've been doing it for over 20 years, right?
Yeah,
So what was your worth in your own personal opinion?
Oh man, for me it was the first time that I performed. Man, it was like when I tell you that it was horrible, I'm talking about a plane crashing and burning for a decade type terrible. You know, that's what I mean by terrible.
Right.
Because I felt terrible. There was no connection with the crowd. There was not even a connection with my poem. So I just disrespected the seat that I was in at that point.
Right.
So it was that bad. But you know, I made a pact with myself that I'd never be that bad again, based on me understanding what this is and executing.
When was the last time you went blank in the middle of a poem?
Shoot, man, that happens. Believe it or not, man, that happens quite regularly.
Right.
But sometimes it's based on over preparation, and sometimes it's just you know, it's over preparation and then it's getting too comfortable.
Yes.
So both of those things can lead you to that blank space. But when you've been doing it for as long as I have, you know, there's muscle memory, like you know what to do to get back on the horse and that type of thing. So most people will never notice it. But the last time it happened was Friday.
What was your best performance or your best feature? I smashed this.
Yeah.
I smashed it, but
yeah.
I'm proud of what I did on stage. That's the better way to put it.
Yeah, man, like I'll say this, for the last decade, I'm always proud of what I do on stage because I know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doing it for a different reason now. But I leave that up to the people. And I leave that up to the crowd. Spoken word is one of those things to where, if I execute properly, if I come across, the people will either confirm or deny what I already feel.
Most definitely.
Right. So that's that's what the art of spoken word is for. Like poetry and spoken word, they're on the same road but in different lanes. Those are two different parts of the art form. So what I mean by that is simply that when you write your poem, it's an intimate thing. It's I've heard it referred to as that's your baby, right?
Most definitely.
And you can take that poem, you can keep it, you can put it in a book and have people see that poem, experience that poem, read that poem outside of your presence.
Mm-hmm.
Now the art of spoken word is different. So when you're dealing with the art of spoken word, you're creating a piece to specifically connect with the crowd, right? Or else, why get up and do it? All right? Why create that vibrational frequency and you're not looking to reach anybody on the other side of the mic? So that's a different level of the art form, because that's where you bring in your theatrics, your wordplay, your cadence, tone, your pitch, all of that good stuff. So you're using your body language and you're actually bringing the words themselves to life so people can connect with it. So that's what I love about both sides of it. But for me, it's just up to the people. My job is to visualize what I want to say and bring it to life on stage. Mm. So you get a chance to choose on whether or not I was effective in that or not.
Would you mind sharing the way you learn your new poems?
Oh, absolutely, man. It's should actually use a couple of different tactics. Yeah, one of the ways that I remember my poems is I break them down into stanzas, and I master the poem stanza by stanza.
Okay. Do me a favor. I know what stanza mean, but say it a different way for people who. Everything we're doing it for the people who's not where we at yet.
Word.
So break down what a stanza is so they can get it, so they can learn how to learn the way we do it.
Well, I'll say it like this. I'll make it easy for you. If I was to spit a poem that has 30 lines in it, right? So what I would do is I would break them down by portions, right? So I learned 5 lines at a time, and I will master those 5 lines at a time until I knock out all 30 lines. So I would master 5 lines, then go to the next 5 lines and master that, right? That's one way I do it. And then the next way that I do it is record myself reading the poem, and then I would listen to myself, right? So I would almost do the same thing, but I would make it fluent, right? So I go back over it line by line. I listen to myself, and I'd hear the cadence, or I hear the way that I want to perform. So I would learn it that way. Like even if it's half of the poem, so half of 30 is 15 lines and then 15 lines, right? So I learned it like that, based on cadence, based on that flow, right? So those are 2 ways, that I use to learn my poems, and sometimes I learn a poem line by line.
What piece you wrote was the hardest to remember? Like, shit, this piece right here. It could be one little part or the whole poem. What piece you wrote for yourself that you can remember kicking your ass? Because some poems, it will kick your ass trying to learn it.
Shoot, man, actually none of them. And here's why. Like when I start writing my truth, right? Like I had an arrangement with my poems, because my poems are me. So it's almost, for me, it's almost like saying if I have a tough time remembering this poem, it's because I'm not connected to something in it. So am I just doing this to just be creative, or am I doing this for a purpose?
Most definitely.
So those are 2 different things. It's almost like forgetting the way to your mother's house. But that'll never happen.
Most definitely.
Right. So it's I become my poems. My poems are me. They're a part of me. And I do know that it still is a human existence. So we can forget, that type of thing happens, but it's still always there. So you create habits and you create exercises so you don't. And for me, those habits and exercises are staying on stage, staying on top of my poems, staying connected to my poems, writing poems that I'm more connected to as I evolve, right? So that makes me and the poem one, and we continue to be one. It's almost like saying, Sincere, do you remember your wife's name?
Right.
You see what I mean?
Most definitely.
So that's the idea, man. I stay connected to what I'm doing, because this is purpose, not just poetry.
Have you ever wrote something to make you be scared to say it on stage, or even scared to write it?
Oh no.
Okay.
I am a free black man. So freedom of speech is a real thing, and I have autonomy over my thoughts and ideas, and there's nothing I'm afraid to say. And here's the thing, we can say anything, but the idea is how we say what we say. The idea is that because we don't want to waste words. Like the idea is to connect with people, communicate with people. So one of the things that I look to do in my communication with people is see what they need and give them that. Now, that may not always come off, based on the end user and what their deal is with hearing certain information. But that's what I always look to do. I always look to get that point across in the way that they need to hear it.
Do anybody in your family write besides you?
Yes, I've been told that they have, but none of them have taken it to this level. Yes, and most of I have family members that had that book in their head, but didn't put it out on the market. So I actually made that happen. And going back to the book is actually a family legacy piece. So my government name is on the book, but the first thing that you'll flip open and see in the book is a poem by Sincere. So So that's for the folks in my family that didn't write that book that they had in their head. So that's why I put my first name, my middle initial, and my last name on the book, so I could tie my family to
it. What is your version of success?
Wow. Now, success is it's defined by the individual, but success for me is simple. For me to be able to live in my truth, be able to do the things that I want to do with my time based on what's important, based on priority, and be able to do things in this life that's going to have a profound impact on the people that I'm looking to serve. That's success.
When was the last time you got on stage and you said to yourself, man, I don't want to go behind that?
Oh, man. Shoot, man, you know what, man? That was a place off of 3rd in Atlanta called Apache Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So at the very front end of me doing what I do as an artist, shoot, I got a chance to go there. I used to hear about it, right? So I got a chance to go there. So I drove up from Middle Georgia years ago. And I said, man, let me go see what this Apache is all about, man. And then I had a chance to see some of the brothers and sisters, man, that I had a chance to see on TV do this thing. So I'm talking about cats like Tiny Bottoms and Red Storm and Georgia Me and Queen Sheba and Abyss, and these are all folks that I know now. That's good people, man. That's living in Atlanta now. But so I got a chance to see them do their thing, and I'm like, oh man, I got to go behind that. So and this is at different points in the show and at different times, because for a while, so I would just come and I would just observe. I would just come and take in. And these are people that have taught me some important things too, as far as performing and executing in a confident way. But again, I'm a student of the game, so there's there's younger people that teach me things about this game, man, whether it's fire or it's just the raw talent and the hunger. So just being an avid student, man, like it's just certain things about the game, man, that I pay attention to, man. So when I saw that type of confidence, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's time to go sharpen the saw and make sure that what I'm doing is fit for not just certain stages, but any stage I step on.
I feel that. How did you do that night? Or whatever night that was, you felt like, man, I don't go behind that. Because sometimes you could be thinking, I don't go behind that. You go up there and the crowd will love you because you are that piece of the puzzle that they needed that night. Right.
I didn't, now that particular night, I didn't have any issues. Now, there has been some times, and it's few and far between, but there had been some times that I knew I shouldn't have got on stage because my energy wasn't where it needed to be be able to execute.
What you just said, that's important.
Yeah.
That's important. Like, you, as any person out here who's listening to this interview, that if you're a younger, up-and-coming poet, if your energy or something in your mind say, don't jump on that stage, just leave it on that night.
Right.
Because you don't have to jump on stage every single time you're there.
Right.
And when you do get on, when you get that feeling, you go up there, you already told yourself, don't do it. You're going against your spirit.
Right.
And that ain't gonna never win, right?
Hey, that's it. Hey, that's it, man. And it became a thing. It reverted me back to some of the thoughts that I had when I got up on stage the very first time, and I sucked. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna put myself in a position to not only disrespect the crowd, but disrespect the poem, the art form, or myself. Mm. So I'd much rather, just be a fan of that night and enjoy people that are creating the right energy on the stage and can pass it on properly.
What's the weirdest reaction you received from a fan or somebody who like your art?
Oh man, shoot, man, I had somebody to just run up to me and hug me just out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even expect it. But you know, it was one of those things the way I could tell that the piece really touched them, and they you know, they connected with it, you know, and they just wanted to express that. It was a form of gratitude that I appreciated it. Shit, but it was a hard hug, man.
Broke a couple of your ribs, huh?
I didn't know if I was being tackled or what. You know, you see me, I ain't a very big dude, but you know, you can't catch me off guard like that too, because I'm from the hood. So it's like, damn, is this a fight I didn't know about or what? But you know, it was love, man. So it's things like that that really make me love what I'm doing out here as an artist.